Thank you, Anna, and welcome. So we're talking a little bit about cooperatives and collaboration. My name is Jeff Bolts. I'm a project manager for the Northwest Ag Business Center. And so when we think about cooperation and collaboration, and why is it important? Two words come to my mind, which is mutual benefit and common good. And if we think about farms and farm businesses here in the Pacific Northwest, Puget Sound region, often there's a sense that we're competing against each other. And if we think about it, working with Sustainable Connections, we believe that locally grown food is about 3% or 4% at most of people's food consumption in this region. So we really believe that there's a big opportunity for a lot more local food to get into local homes and on local plates. And so we think more, I like the term co-opetition, is more like, we're competitive, but we also, if we collaborate, we might just be able to get more food into more homes in this region. And so the people that are here represent either cooperatives or nonprofits, and there's a couple different ways if you're thinking about collaborations. I mean, collaboration can just happen kind of over the fence as well, and that does happen indeed. But the context that I'm presenting is really two different organizational structures, cooperatives and nonprofits. And a cooperative exists for the mutual benefit of its members, and a nonprofit, according to Internal Revenue Service definition, is supposed to provide a public benefit. So both of these structures are for providing good things for lots of people. And why is collaboration or cooperation important? Who remembers 1986 here? There's a few people reminded. Okay, well, 1986. 23 chains of grocery stores in America represented 58% of the sales of groceries in America. So 1986, 23 chains, 58%. Who was here in 1996? There, no, a few more people, okay. 1996, it was 9 chains representing 58% of sales of groceries. And in 1996, Walmart was not officially in the grocery business. So what happens when you have that merger and consolidation that happened at the wholesale level, it happened at food manufacturing level, and for farms, that means really fewer choices of people to sell to, and that equates to lower price for the farmer. Often as not, these buyers want to divide and conquer, and get the lowest price, and farmers have basically become price takers instead of price makers. So who was here in 1940? In 1940, 40% of America farmed. Who was here in 2014? In 2014, 1.5% of America farmed. In 1940, farmers captured between 40 and 50 cents of every dollar that was spent on food. In 2014, it was 11 cents to 14 cents on the dollar. Farming is hard. So just really quickly at this photograph, we have 4 out of 5 members of Cooperative Agua Gorda. It's a cooperative in Minnesota. 5 farmers who started with 1/2 acre, now farming 50 acres by cooperating. And they're organically certified and GAP certified. And around there, these are all organizations that NABC has worked with in the past 5-6 years. Next. So really quick, NABC, our mission is to increase the economic vitality of the regions that we serve, which is started as 5 counties from Snohomish County going north. Now we serve King County, and then down into Thurston, Grace Harbor, and Lewis counties. And then we lost it. Do you see it? So initially, we were formed back in 2006 to save farmland. We figured the best way to do that was by saving farmers. And farmers need to be economically healthy to do so. So we help farmers capture more value for their food, and we do it by... Did we go backwards? We went forward? Okay. We do it by doing those things there. And if you want to talk more about those things, I've got a table right over here. You can come visit me. So cooperatives are a great way for farmers to work together to capture markets, to pool resources, drive down costs in their purchasing. And a cooperative is a democratically owned business that provides a mutual benefit to its members. So whether that's Dairy Gold Cooperative or Organic Valley or REI or Community Food Co-op, those are all different types of co-ops. And it's a structure that's democratically owned. Members have the same amount of money they put in, and then depending on use, they may get a little more money out, depending, like REI, if you spend $1,000, you might get $100 back. If you spend $100, you might get $10 back. And we are one of 22 USDA designated rural development cooperative centers in the United States of America. So we help form co-ops. If we look up there, the Puget Sound Food Hub, North Cascade Meat Producers Co-op, Snoqualmie Valley Farmers Co-op are all cooperatives that we help to form. I'm looking at time. Huh? I've done 10 minutes, okay. Well, there's some of the projects that we've done. Oh. And I better close around here just really quick. Take my time? Okay. So, cooperation and collaboration, and much more can be accomplished by groups of people than an individual. So cooperatives can pool capital to establish infrastructure such as the North Cascade Meat Producers Co-op or Puget Sound Food Hub, which are owned by multiple producers, help to create infrastructure to process meat or distribute local products into market. Can pool product that capture larger markets. One meat producer may not be able to produce enough meat to sell to a grocery chain, but multiple producers can. Capturing efficiencies, trying to drive, so if the producers own it and drive costs out, then they can be more competitive with, non-cooperative type entities. Pooling purchases to reduce costs, such as feed, and sharing and pooling knowledge and best practices to help lift everybody up to make sure they've got the best operation possible. And then very quickly, there's just some results. But I think what's most important for NABC is, we're kind of judged by, do we help people sell stuff? Do we help them get money to grow their businesses? Do we create jobs? But ultimately, what we're trying to do here is preserve the farmland in this region. It's farming against the urban fringe. And we think that, the key to economic success is also community success, community health, health of the land, health of the water resources. So we're looking at this very, very holistically because we think that having farms in our rural areas is better than having pavement. So thank you.
Oh, that's me. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to start with a brief description of what the Food Hub is, what we do, and how we do it. So you can see our mission here. More specifically, we're making it convenient for businesses, so restaurants, hospitals, schools, grocery stores, bakeries, and more, to buy local food direct from local farms with an online marketplace, delivery to their door, and streamlined payment. So customers can place an order for product from multiple farms and receive it in one delivery, paying just one invoice. The Food Hub is the link between the people that want fresh foods fresh local foods, and the wonderful people who grow and make them. I say make because in addition to tons of fruits, vegetables, nuts, honey, mushroom, meats, eggs, and fish, we also represent cheesemakers, bakers, pasta makers, coffee roasters, fermenters, kombucha brewers. So what we do, we're at the center of the wheel. Farms all around us do all the wonderful things that they do, growing amazing products. On Mondays and Thursdays, the farms bring the products that have been ordered to our warehouse in Mount Vernon, or around here at Cloud Mountain. It's one of our drop sites. We aggregate the products, meaning we create piles for each of our customers. So Hagen Stanwood is here, Canlis is here, UW is here, and make sure that their entire order is accounted for. Then the next day, so Tuesdays and Fridays, we deliver their orders. Currently, we're delivering from the Canadian border to SeaTac, including the San Juan Islands. So in a lot of cases, the produce comes out of the ground less than 48 hours before it's delivered, which is a really, really quick turnaround. My job is to make sure that everyone is happy. I want PCC to get the cheeses they need for the Samish Bay demo. I want Blossom on Lopez to know that there was a freeze and that their Brussels sprouts aren't coming. I want Bellingham Food Bank to get the delivery of squash so generously donated by a farm with a surplus. I regularly call farmers to ask about availability changes, notify producers when something looks a little funny on our website, help figure out what should be featured in our bi-weekly fresh sheet. I also put together order guides twice a week to send out via email to customers that prefer to look at spreadsheets. Viva Farms and North Cascade Meat Producers Cooperative are both members of the Hub, and they can probably speak to the farmer perspective, but I can give an overview of the advantages of the Co-op Hub system. I went a little out of order there, but we're farmer-owned, hence cooperative, which means that our producers buy in with membership dues and gain access to the Hub. We're governed by a board of directors made up of membership farms. The board meets monthly to discuss operations, finance, policies, and provide direction to the Hub employees and contractors. The board is responsible for decisions related to the development of the co-op. There we go. As far as facilities, we have a big warehouse, cooler, freezer, meeting space, trucks, all that good stuff. This shared infrastructure can be big for small farms. It opens up the possibilities to increase sales, reduce costs and waste, and decrease the individual carbon footprint. Our staff includes delivery drivers, warehouse staff, customer service, sales and marketing, accounts payable. We have it, so you don't have to. We cover the cost of cold and dry storage from drop-off to delivery, so if you bring us something that needs to be kept cool, we can do that. If it has to stay frozen, we can do that. Food safety adherence, credit card and banking fees, marketing, all that good stuff. Most of our member farms have great websites with lots of beautiful photos and information, but creating a viable online ordering platform can be cost prohibitive. The online marketplace that the Hub uses and maintains is pretty complex software and is building capabilities all the time, especially in terms of FSMA and FDA regulations, so necessary tracking for products, labeling, that kind of good nitty-gritty stuff that just needs to be done. It's pretty user-friendly on both sides. Everyone is so used to ordering online now that having this option with photos and descriptions and real-time availability is a real asset, and it's a click away. So as a producer, first one with squash blossoms, get them listed. 2 months later, you're drowning in squash. Let our sales manager find you a bulk buyer. Producers can edit products at any time. I work a lot with farms listing products. We try to create consistency throughout the site. We want buyers to be able to compare apples to apples. Well, we don't grow oranges, but also because in the spirit of cooperation, it's important for a lot of the farmers and buyers to see similarities and differences in products. So if a buyer goes on and sees, oh, this farm is offering a 24 count, oh, this one's only doing a 12, what meets my needs the best? We want customers to know what they're getting. Producers set their own prices. The Hub does not dictate what things should cost. And these prices can change with seasonality and availability and competition. It's a click away. Another advantage of the Hub is that because we do individual client delivery, farms just need to get their products to us. Still no small feat and always a team effort, but at the very least we save them a trip to Seattle twice a week. So you can bring us our 500 pounds of meat and we'll take it to Central Co-op, or you can scatter your 15 bags of carrots from Whidbey to Duval. So farm resources can stay closer to farm and farmers can spend more time farming. Washington State, and especially the Puget Sound area, is working hard to secure the long-term health of local agriculture. Making sustainable practices a priority and advertising where each product comes from is incredibly important. Every restaurant, small market, and hospital would love to walk down to the farmer's market every Saturday and buy a week's worth of stuff, but it's just not possible. The Food Hub hopes to be bridging the gap between supply and demand. More customers are looking for food with a story, and we want to bring it to them. One of the goals of the Hub is to educate buyers of the true cost of food production so that they are understanding of and more willing to pay the appropriate prices for sustainably grown food. And we very much encourage the farmers to engage with customers. These relationships go a really long way. It's such a treat for a restaurant to fall in love with the farmer's carrots and set up a recurring order that outlasts the listed availability on the site. We haven't sold certain products for months now on our site, being the low season, but we have repeat orders that just keep coming in, and they're saving their stock for this one recurring customer. Or for stores to purchase whole animals, which Nancy can speak to. It's not yet an option through our site, but if you want to talk to her about that. So just quickly, this is the percentages of producer payouts. You can see Whatcom County's got a nice big old slice of that pie. And then this is just an overview of our annual sales. Looks like that graph's heading in the right direction. For a fairly new hub, we were started about 10 years ago, so I like where it's headed. Thank you so much.
I'm Nancy Hibbing, and my farm name is Acme Grass Fed. If we're not a feed company, we are a livestock producer. I became involved with North Cascades Meat Producers Cooperative because it was the missing link to me being successful at distributing my meat products. Being a cooperative, the idea is to provide USDA's North Cascade Meat Producers Cooperative has the mission of providing USDA services to the small and mid-sized farmer. It's been an uphill battle since 2012 anyway, when I joined. And but we have our mobile processing unit. And so in the mobile processing unit, we are able to slaughter and do some preparation of primals for selling a whole cow to Central. We do sell a whole cow now and again, but we sell it in pieces. And it's just prepared as primals and then shipped out in boxes, and it's a nice clean delivery. We have not yet perfected the way of sending a whole carcass down to Seattle, but we're going to get there. Processing USDA means everything after stunning and bleeding out is done inside. If a fly touches any part of the carcass, that part has to be trimmed out. That's a USDA requirement. That's how sanitary things must be to satisfy USDA. This first room here is the workroom where animals are taken to be skinned and eviscerated. The doors have already been closed once the animal gets in there. And then all of the offal is sent out through a little door and picked up by a tractor and taken out to the compost. The back room is a cooler. Immediately after being skinned and eviscerated, the inspector takes a look at it, And if everything's a-okay, the carcass goes into the cooler and starts the cooling process. Within 24 hours, the carcass must be cooled down to a minimum of 45 degrees. Ideally, we aim for 41. And it's just the way it is with USDA. No sitting around in the hot weather or anything. So, we start with a raw product and we end up with packaged meat. And you've seen that picture before. Jeff? Jeff presented it. Viva Farms, we're already to Viva Farms. I guess I'm done. And I'll be, I had some computer issues and didn't get all of my slides through the internet, so it's my fault. Or I like to blame Verizon.
Hey everybody. I'm Anna Chosen with Viva Farms. I'm the business and marketing manager. Viva Farms is a farm business incubator and training program. And as our vision and mission suggests, we support beginning farmers to start and eventually launch businesses. And our goal is to really ensure that there's a next generation of farmers to keep sustainable farming going. And we have our fingers in a lot of different pies, but primarily supporting beginning farmers is our main mission. And we do everything that we do bilingually in Spanish. So we're really open to supporting any and all beginning farmer that's interested in starting a farm, but with particular emphasis on those who are speak Spanish as their first language, or even their second language if they come from an indigenous background. We have a lot of farmers from indigenous communities in Mexico for whom Spanish is actually their second and English maybe their third. So to give you a sense, Viva Farms was started in 2009. It was founded as a collaboration with a lot of different partners. NABC was one, the Port of Skagit, the Economic Development Alliance of Skagit County was another, and WSU Extension. Many different partners came together and recognized the need for a resource and support to help empower the next generation of farmers, and that's how it began. We're located in Skagit County, that's where our primary farm is. And we now, as you see, for the first however 7 years or so of our existence, we were on our home site, 33 acres in Skagit, and then in 2017 we purchased an additional 45 acres just across Highway 20, and then last year launched our new site in King County, in Woodinville, with an additional 10 acres. So now we're up to getting close to 100 acres of farmland for beginning farmers, which is really exciting. We are a nonprofit. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. And this coming season, we'll have, like I said, we'll have 19 different farm businesses in Skagit County, 5, and actually I think we've since added another, so it'll be 6 farms in King County. So it's really exciting. We're a small staff, but doing a lot of really exciting work. So what is an incubator? We're one of the, I would say, most established and longest established, one of the largest incubator programs in the country. There are quite a few of them, but we're on the larger end of the spectrum. And really our role is to provide as much support and as many resources as possible to lower the barriers to entry for starting a farm. As many of you know, I'm sure, there's a lot of upfront costs. It's difficult to find land. It's difficult to understand what it means to start a business. And so our role is to support farmers in all of that. And this slide here shows the progression that we think of when we are inviting farmers to start at their first year of Viva. We think of it as approximately, give or take, a 5-year process. starting from day one where you're getting your business license and writing your business plan and making your first crop plan, through to year 5 and beyond, where you're looking to launch and perhaps find your own farmland eventually. And everything in between, getting your own organic certification, liability insurance, developing your own markets, developing a food safety plan, all these different steps along the way that are necessary and increasingly so for small farmers. And everything we do is certified organic, so all of our acreage is in certified organic production. We as Viva Farms hold an organic certification that farmers can sort of exist within and sell under, and then also as farmers progress in their journey through the incubator, they often will acquire their own certification as well. So this is a list of the many services we offer. We like to think of what we call the 5 essentials that we see as necessary to supporting farmers in the most comprehensive way, and those are access to land, which is obviously really important, and so all of those 88 or so acres that we have are for lease to farmers. So access to land, access to infrastructure and equipment. We have at both of our Skagit sites and our King County site, we have a wash and pack facility, walk-in cooler, greenhouses for propagation and for dry storage, several different tractors, many different implements. The list goes on, but really the idea is we provide the basic infrastructure and equipment that people need to start without having to go out and find a lot of capital up front to get started. And then access to markets. We have an entire marketing program that I'll talk about a bit more in a minute. We do also a lot of training and direct one-on-one technical assistance in many different topics. And then finally, access to capital. We help farmers access capital in different ways. NABC is a huge partner in that, and we work with the Farm Service Agency, for example, lots of different both federal and foundation grants that support small farmers to acquire additional infrastructure or equipment or improve their conservation practices or pursue value-added products. All of these different options that we help farmers connect with and educate about the opportunities for funding. So the training and education is, in many ways, I would say, the central kind of the core of what we do. We offer, so several things. We have our practicum in sustainable agriculture, which is a 9-month land-based training program that people take prior to entering the incubator. And this is intended for folks who have maybe a little bit of farming experience, but are really looking to explore the possibility of starting their own farm business. And so before they actually do so and get land, we want them to experience an entire growing season at Viva in organic production, learning everything from crop planning and starting seeds through to sales, to marketing their product, and then later on in the year doing financial analysis of the season, looking towards what products worked, what didn't, discussing food safety practices, all of these different considerations that one has to take into account when starting a business. So this program is the prerequisite, we should say, to getting land at the incubator. And you can also take this course for college credit through Skagit Valley Community College and a few others in King County, which is exciting. And some folks choose to do so. You can also do it directly through Viva. And just as a reminder, everything we do is bilingual, so we have simultaneous interpretation into Spanish for the entire practicum course. And then we also do lots of different workshops on all sorts of topics. We sometimes will offer them ourselves, and then often we'll partner with different practitioners in the field, be it integrated pest management or business planning or seed saving or food safety or crop insurance. The list goes on, and we have different levels, more beginning level through to advanced, in an effort to cover a lot of different topics that farmers are looking for as they're building up their business. And then finally, as a staff, we're available always to farmers for one-on-one technical assistance, whether that's in the field, diagnosing a disease or a pest, or whether it's in the wash pack, showing a farmer how to appropriately pack a case, or whether it's sitting down with somebody and looking at their financial record keeping system and how to improve that to increase their profitability, and everything in between. Another large piece of our program is the sales and marketing that we do. That's our truck. We have a wholesale program where we drive twice a week to Seattle to deliver farmer product directly to lots of different businesses, you know, co-ops, grocery stores, restaurants, etc. in the Seattle area. And then we also run a CSA program that's another opportunity for farmers to have a market. And our goal is really to serve both the very beginning farmer who might have one case of kale or a few cases of strawberries, up through the farmer who's been there 5+ years who might have, say, a pallet of lettuce a week or a pallet of green beans. And our goal is to serve all of our farmers regardless of their stage in their farm business. And we also have the advantage in that we can aggregate multiple farmers' product to then access these larger markets that farmers wouldn't necessarily be able to access on their own. So it helps farmers have the confidence that their product will be sold, and so that they can focus on developing the other parts of their business in the early years. And then we also are simultaneously encouraging them to develop their own markets. And so we have a lot of farmers who are members of the Puget Sound Food Hub, for example. That's a really great option for beginning farmers as they're getting started. And we also work with NABC and others to help them develop their brand, whether it's a logo or website or whatever, to get their name out there, because we know that eventually they will launch from Viva and they'll need to have their own identity as a farm as well. And then, as I mentioned, we do a lot of business planning, financial record keeping, and other support to help farmers understand their numbers and make sure that they're on the right track. So really all of this is to say that we are here to support the next generation of farmer and to recognize that there are barriers to starting a farm, and we want to be there to ensure that there are farmers into the future. And we found that there are several constants which can keep people from starting a farm or can make it really difficult, which are things like access to land, access to capital, especially working with a population that is non-English speaking, may not be, native to this area. It can be challenging to get access to the resources that some of us might have access to, and so we really want to be there as a support system for them and encourage all of our farmers that it is possible to succeed with the right support. So that is who we are, Beaver Farms.
Awesome. Well, thank you to all of our panelists. And now what we're going to do is open it up for questions. But I'm going to drop this mic for a second, so stand by. This to you guys. Okay, so there's a lot of great resources out there for farmers. I'm sure that you have, how is this going to impact me? How can I take advantage of some of these services out there? So what are some questions that we have from the audience, if any?
So what sort of crops are being grown through Viva?
We grow about half of our, about probably 40% of our production is berries and 60% is mixed vegetables. We probably have 40 to 60 different varieties across all the farms. So pretty much any like annual veg that you're looking for, and strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, black raspberries. We don't do animals, so it's all vegetable and berry production.
I have actually a question for Nancy. How does someone become involved with the North Cascades Meat Cooperative?
Excuse me. I have some handouts with a phone number on them, so actually you would talk to me about joining. We have some particulars about the people we wish to have in the cooperative. We want humane handling. We want pastured, grass-fed, those sorts of things. And like I say, I have the explanation with me. I have a table somewhere. I was a little late getting here, but I'll get all set up and you can come and see me.
Awesome, thank you. I will. Any other questions from our audience here?
Who's looking down?
This is for Anna, Viva Farms. What is your enrollment? I mean, you fill up pretty quickly as far as people wanting to work on the farm and take, getting a portion of the land that you have. How quickly does that fill up?
Yeah, so the question was, what is our enrollment process? How quickly does it fill up? So the practicum course, the 9-month course, is our prerequisite in a sense. And so we generally we like to cap it at about 15 students, just because that's what's manageable. And then in the last few years, this is only our third, is that right? Third or fourth season of doing the practicum, so it's still relatively new. But usually of those 12 to 15 students, we have 3 at the most who are interested in actually launching a farm business. So that's one way that we seek to somewhat control who's coming in, and that's simply because we want people to be successful. We don't want them to get land and put in all of this investment only to decide after a year that they actually don't want to farm. So that's one thing. But then the second part is that we do fill up fast, and I mentioned that in 2017 we bought 45 additional acres up from our 33 that we had for the first 6 or so years, and this year, 2019, we're completely full. So, and that's because farmers who are now in their 3rd, 4th, 5th season are farming 6, 8, 10 acres. And so we're now on the hunt for new land, and also starting to really focus on supporting farmers in their launch plan so that they can get onto their own land and we can make room for new farmers. So I guess to answer your question, our enrollment process is the practicum is the first step, and as we grow, people just are starting to know about us more and more, and therefore there's more demand, and so the land will increasingly become sort of the choke point, I think.
I'd just like to also add, in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, that Cloud Mountain Farm Center has an annual intern program, and they also have an incubator farm, about 20 some odd acres. They're on the Lawrence Road in Everson, and their organic farm school also has a same type of practicum situation, and those Viva Farms Practicum and Organic Farm School were both products of USDA Beginning Farmer and Rancher grants, 3-year grants for $650,000 that we all collaborated and helped them get.
Other questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
I had a question about the Puget Sound Food Hub. Like, how much of the price that farmers are putting their things on there for are the farmers actually getting compared to how much is going into the food hub?
So the price that the producers put on, they get that. That is what they get. So if you decide that in order to make it sustainable, you need $5 a pound for something, then we will pay you $5 a pound. We put our markup on top of that, and then that is what pays the food hub bills. So there is sort of a backing out of it if you're trying to understand that we're going to add our markup onto it. You want to make sure that you're not pricing yourselves out, but we do not dictate how much you list it for because we don't know how much it costs you to produce.
other questions or comments? I'm curious about with the food hub specifically, and maybe the meat cooperative as well. You said that you do meat and fish and dairy products as well. So do you work with a local meat processor that you would get? So could farmers bring their animals or get it slaughtered by a local meat processor that you would pick up? I'm trying to. Okay, that's it. So do you work with the food hub in order to, because it's USDA certified?
I'm sorry that I didn't make this clear.
It's okay.
The Food Hub is fantastic to work with. They started out charging us too much for delivery. So, you know what? We got them to reconsider.
She's very forceful.
They have hired a fantastic salesperson who actually has dragged me to visit places in Seattle that offer us a future for future product. I just want you to know they've been fantastic. I recommend it to anybody starting out. Just list stuff on Food Hub and learn to deal with it because it's so helpful. It lets us spend time on our farms. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
So what I would say is that on delivery, so people order them on the website from the meat cooperative. So you can order your burgers, you can order your steaks, you can order your primal cuts, your bone marrow, your whatever, and then they bring it to us fully packaged in boxes. So we are not the connection for finding them a butcher. We're not the connection for slaughtering, anything like that. That's all arranged by them. It's just listed on our website, fully processed. That's what we sell. She brings it to us. That answers the question. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience or any other final comments from the panelists that you'd like to share?
North Cascades Meat Producers Cooperative is not only a farmers cooperative, farmer owned and run, but we are nonprofit. The monies that come in go almost directly back to the farmer with a little bit left over to cover some of the overhead. At the present time, we're paying $2.50 per pound hanging weight for beef, for instance. And that's a better price than a lot of farmers get operating on their own. That is where our heart is to help the small and mid-sized farmer get the best price for the product.
And maybe just, kind of one closing comment for me is that 5 years ago, this wasn't here. The growth that Viva Farms has had over the 5 years, and that we've worked in partnership with them, North Cascade Meat Producers Co-op, it was incorporated actually in 2011, but it took a long haul to get members to join, but they started processing it and distributing meat June of 2016. Puget Sound Food Hub, long trajectory to get there, but it takes a lot of collaboration, cooperation, and what I've learned in food system development is it takes a lot longer than you think.